Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sedgemoor District Council's Licensing and Gambling Panel. I'll now hand you over to our committee manager, Mr. Taylor.
Hopefully everyone present will hear the meeting. However, in the event of a technical failure, the chairman will adjourn the panel and set a new time for its reinstatement. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and a copy of that recording will be available on the council's YouTube channel within the next few days. All attendees who have registered to speak should have their video on, but should remain muted until invited to speak, and all members of the press and public will remain muted. And the format of the meeting will be as per the agenda published. Over to you, Chairman.
Super, thank you very much. Item number 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence, which I don't believe we have.
None.
Item number 2, urgent business. None of that either. Item number 3, declarations of interest. Don't believe we have any.
No.
Great. Item number 4, Owley Woods. We're here today to consider an application for a new premises licence for the Owley Woods Glamping and Spirits, Owley, Bradley Cross, Cheddar, following objections having been received and the reports were attached. I'm now just going to run through and just check everyone can see and hear and introduce ourselves. So I am Councillor Polly Costello. I am the chairman of the Licensing and General Purposes for Wedmore and Mark. Next on my list, I have Councillor Crowe.
Yes, I'm Councillor Barry Crowe. I'm Vice Chairman of the committee and representing Puriton, Woollavington and Cossington.
And I guess you can see and hear me.
Perfectly.
Perfect. Good. Councillor Levy.
I'm Councillor Levy. I'm Councillor for Hampward and Bridgewater, and I can see and hear you perfectly.
Super. Our applicant today is Matthew Tyler. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. Hi.
You can see and hear us?
I can, yeah.
Perfect. Good. Our officers today. First up, we have Mr. Baller.
Morning, Chair. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm Simon Baller, the Sedgemoor District Council Licence Officer for Sedgemoor. I can hear everybody very loud and very clear.
Excellent. Next up, I have our lovely Mr. Osborne.
Good morning, Chair. Nigel Osborne, Legal Advisor of the panel, and I can confirm I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Jolly good. Somewhere here we've got the lovely Emily Webber.
I think
Morning,
she may be
Chair.
just making a...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, good morning, Chair. Legal apprentice for the council. Having some connection issues, but once I've sorted that, my webcam will resume.
Okay, but for the moment you can hear us.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Great stuff. And then over to Mr. Taylor.
I'm Steve Taylor, Committee Manager, and I can see and hear clearly. Thank you.
Super. Great. And we'll crack on now with our application. Mr. Baller, would you like to present the report? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so the purpose of the report today is to consider an application for a new premises licence under the Licensing Act of 2003. So on the 24th September 2021, an application for a new premises licence in respect of Owley Woods Glamping and Spirits, Owley, Bradley Cross, Cheddar, Somerset BS 273YR was received from Mr. Matthew Tyler. The application seeks authorisation for the following licensable activities to take place. That is the sale, supply of alcohol from 0900 hours in the morning to 2300 hours daily, off the premises only. I redacted the copy of the application can be found in the pack as Appendix A. This license is to allow the off-sales of alcohol from the owner's private house and garage to the 10 camping pods, stroke tents on the camping site, and to also provide a place of dispatch for the developing Cheddar and Gin Spirits online business. The products are stored within the owner's private house and no customers will be permitted to collect from the house. A copy of the plan of the premises is attached as Appendix B. A map of the area is shown as Appendix C. A larger map in the pack surrounding area is shown as Appendix D. So the current position, we have had objections to the application which have been received within the permitted time frame from Cheddar Parish Council and they're listed as Appendix E. The objection touches on the licensing objectives of public safety and the protection of children from harm. The police have agreed a set of conditions with the applicant for inclusion within any granted license, and this is shown as Appendix F. So the options today for the panel are to grant the application as applied for, to grant the application with attached conditions, to grant the application in part, with attached conditions, or to refuse the application. The licensing officer determined that the representations are relevant. It is therefore the duty of the panel to determine the application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives, which are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. The issue for the panel is whether the application as submitted sufficiently promotes the licensing objectives, whether the promotion of the licensing objectives requires the application to be granted subject to conditions, or whether the application requires it to be rejected because the licensing objectives cannot be met by the imposition of conditions. It is for the panel to determine the application, and that is the summary complete. Chair.
Super, thank you, Mr. Baller. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Baller at this stage? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so now we'll head over to the our applicant today. Mr. Tyler, would you like to present your side of the application to us? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So the application was made partly because we have, unfortunately, it's 5 glamping pods, not 10. It was 10 people and 5 glamping pods. So we wanted to provide them with a welcome pack, potentially of local cheddar ale or a bottle of prosecco occasionally, or whatever that was. And we started the glamping site last year and thought it was quite a nice little gift for them as part of their welcome pack. So that was one of the reasons we came up with for wanting to get my personal license and the premises license. We for about 2 years we've been developing or considering developing local spirits using our local products. We're blessed that we've got local cheddar spring water, we've got our own honey, cheddar strawberries, and it just seemed a very good idea to make a local product, which is cheddar gin and cheddar vodka, using those for the amount of tourists we have, but also for our guests, and available for sale online. I undertook my personal license and then applied to distribute those online from our home. They're made elsewhere, so all local products, but made in North Petherton, and basically we'll package them here and send them out. Or local shows. We did Nyland Manor Fair last weekend. We've got some fairs in Wells. We've got Cheddar Festive nights with the parish council. So yeah, I mean, it's neither myself nor my wife's main business. It's just almost a bit of a micro business, really. So we're not talking high volumes of sale. We're not talking we're having a shop up here selling any spirits. It's literally online sales, local shows, and maybe even in some of the local restaurants if they approach us to do that. And that was the reasons for the application, really.
Okay, super.
That makes sense. It sounds fairly simple, but it is fairly simple, really, isn't it? We're not.
Yeah, it does sound quite straightforward.
Yeah.
Panel members, have you got any questions for the applicant? Doesn't look like it. Mr.
No.
Paula has got one.
I'm on mute, sorry. Mr. Tyler, thank you for that. I'm just wondering how, if I was a paying guest in one of the glamping pods and I received a bottle of prosecco, how do I go about getting more prosecco if I wish to?
Quite simply, you can't. It's generally if someone's coming for an anniversary, they say, "Oh, can you put a bottle of prosecco in?" We've always said no because we didn't have licenses to do that. So the idea is that we don't become necessarily an off sales for them, because they can go to Sainsbury's or Tesco's or any of the local stores for that. If they want to purchase a bottle of our cheddar spirits, cheddar gin or cheddar vodka, they can do that exactly the same way as everybody else. They can do that online. They can ask us, because we'll obviously, each one of them will have a sort of menu that they can order that. But the process of ordering that is online. Now, if they asked us to do that, we could potentially supply there. Yeah. But it's not necessarily consumption there, because it's more as a keepsake and a memento, as a something to take home with them. because
Yeah,
it's
I understand.
local cheddar.
But would you deliver it to the tent or would you deliver it to the home address?
We deliver it to the tent for them to take away.
So they could technically drink it there. If they wish to.
Yeah, they could do. Technically, they could. The same as they could purchase from Tesco's and drink that there. I wouldn't think they would. You know, we're sort of £30, £25 a bottle price point. I'm sure they go and buy a Gordon's for £13.
Can I just confirm with you, just ask a question, that is adults only? Or do you
It's
accept
absolutely adults only, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was sort of a bit of a mute point, really, with the parish council that any children. I mean, yeah, it's an adults only glamping site, over 18s.
And what's the maximum you can get in one of the glamping pods?
2 with a sofa bed, potentially 3, but there's a king size bed in there for 2 people. It's designed for 2. A couple of them have got a sofa bed that potentially 3. They can have a guest in there, but I think we had one last year that had 3 in. They're 5 metre Lotus bell tents. So
it wouldn't be suitable for like stag weekends and hen nights?
No, we don't allow stag weekends, hen parties, any large groups.
Yeah.
The only group we had last year was a group of dog walkers by pre-arrangement through one of the sites that specialises in dog walking. So just because we're on the West Mendip Way and it was mainly dog walkers we had. But yeah, we don't allow stag or hen do's or large groups.
Okay, thank you. That's no more questions.
Thank you. Anybody else got any questions? Barry?
Yes, yeah. I was going to ask, you're just going to supply what? You're going to say gin and you're saying Prosecco, but are you going to supply beers or is it just basically that type of product? I mean, because obviously if people are on the site and want a glass of beer, they might rather sit in their glamping unit and have a glass of beer there or a glass of wine.
Of course,
would you be selling it? So you could be selling other products other than like gin and Prosecco and that sort of thing.
No, it's not. It's certainly not our intention to do that. Just because we don't want to. There's no benefit in us storing beers and Prosecco and things like that. There's the main reason for it was for our Cheddar Spirits Co business. So the glamping is almost an aside to that. So yeah, we won't have stocks of beer or stocks of wine or anything like that. It's just literally for our gin and the Prosecco, as I say, was generally pre-order. So people would say, I've got an anniversary weekend. Could you put a bottle of Prosecco in there? So when me and my wife get there, it's nice. So yeah, it's not. We certainly haven't got a shop that they'll be able to purchase that sort of stuff.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Mr. Tyler.
Thank you.
Mr. Osborne, did you have a question?
I did, yeah. In the absence of anybody from the parish council, I wondered if Mr. Tyler could explain to me the parish council's reference to the West Mendip Way and how that's supposed to fit into it.
Yeah, I'm really not sure, and probably I've had numerous conversations with them since, some of which obviously I've copied licensing in, but I've also requested a pitch at the Cheddar Fair, the Christmas Fair on the 3rd of December, which they've said, yeah, great, come along. The West Mendip Way. So the West Mendip Way runs through our land, but it's a private track with right of way across it. So it's our private track that goes up to our house that I hate to say we have sort of delivery vehicles all day up here. I've got 3 daughters and Amazon seem to spend half their time up here. So to the point as well, when we were setting the glamping, we managed to get, or there was a 44-ton 18-wheeler came up to deliver our toilet block. So it's certainly not a narrow track. It's the track that we use every day. I have 7.5-ton lorries coming up there every day, and we've never ever had any issue with pedestrians. It's occasionally used. It's more used, I suppose, in the summer, but still, we don't have throngs of people coming up using the track to access Cheddar. Certainly, I mean, I'm sure you guys have walked West Mendip Way, and it just leads up. We're at the end of the track, our house, and it's across our private land. So, slightly confused. We've got our tractor, and we've got Land Rovers and vans and all sorts. So, yeah, I was quite surprised, really. I didn't really get the relevance. I mean, we're certainly not having large deliveries on HGVs of spirits or anything like that. We will pick up some bottles from our guys in North Pelleton if we're doing a show or if we have online orders. But again, as a micro business, we're only ordering really minute quantities, potentially 30 bottles at a time that fit in the car. So yeah, it's not. We don't want to store it in our house for a start, but so they just make it to us to order. If it became a business that was a global brand, I'm sure we need to get somewhere else to store that amount of volume. So yeah, I went back to the parish council on the West Mendip Way, the issues they had, and we've got a 5 mile an hour speed limit that we impose anyway as part of our glamping. Yeah, and there's no different journeys to what already exist on there. I'm slightly confused.
Sounds to me like they were kind of clutching at straws to find reasons to object.
Yeah, I didn't say
really
that. But
come up with very good ones, as it's your land anyway.
Exactly. So it was a bit strange, and hence they didn't come back to my email or attend today, really. And
yeah,
and I think it feels, and I'm going to speak honestly, it feels that they didn't want to object because they were quite happy for me to do the show and everything else with them, but they didn't want to withdraw it. And yeah, I don't really understand.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was a bit half-hearted, especially around the children, the protection of children.
Yes.
When that was only a glamping site that they know about.
Okay.
Could
Anybody
I
else?
just ask one other question?
Yes, please do.
Who makes your deliveries?
No one. I go and collect it from North Pedersen when I'm out and about. So yeah, there's no. And if it's a friend of mine that distills it, and if ever he comes up here anyway, so he comes up and sees us. So if ever he needed to bring a couple of boxes in the back of his car, he would do.
So it's all distributed by Royal Mail or Parcel Force or whoever.
Yeah, all via the post office. So it's only, I mean, we haven't started any online sales yet, but it's really as simple as someone orders a bottle, we take it to the post office and it gets delivered. So
you're not intending to do home deliveries yourself. Is what I was.
No, there's no distribution like that. So.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions, Mr. Tyler?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Do you want to sum up, Mr. Tyler? Have you got any questions you want to ask anybody?
No, not really. To me, it was really straightforward and the reason, sort of off sales only online. Yeah. I didn't have anything else, I don't think.
Okay, thanks. Any final questions from the panel or the legal officers?
No, Chairman. No, I'm fine.
No. Okay.
Apologies.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. As far as the police go, obviously we had the police up for a good couple of hours, just going through everything, and more than happy with their recommendations that we discussed, stuff that we talked about, and it sort of works for us. So
Okay.
we'll be advised by them. No.
Thanks. All right. Well, the panel members will retire to the other room, and we'll come back as soon as we can with our decision. Hopefully, it won't be too long. So we'll be back in a jiffy. Okay. Nope. Sedgemoor District Council Licensing and Gambling Panel on the 16th of November 2021 decision notice. The Licensing and Gambling Panel has been asked to consider an application for a new premises licence for the premises known as Owley Woods Glamping and Spirits, Bradley Cross, Cheddar, Somerset, BS27 3YR, following objections having been received from the Parish Council. The panel is advised that the applicant has reached agreement with the police for conditions to be included on any licence, and therefore there is no objection from them. The panel has considered all of the evidence presented by the applicant in person and objectors in writing. The panel's decision is made in accordance with the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy, the Secretary of State's guidance and current case law. The application as submitted is for the sale and supply of alcohol between 0900 hours and 2300 hours daily off the premises only, including home delivery. In presenting the application, Mr. Tyler advised the panel that this was a new venture and the application was limited in its requirements. He was looking to license his domestic house and garage for the sale of alcohol off the premises. to the 5 glamping pods / tents on their camping site. In addition, he was looking to run a home delivery service for the Cheddar Gin and Spirits online business. This was a sideline micro business, not a shop. He believed that there was no risk of the venture causing public nuisance, public safety, or a risk to children, and that the conditions recommended by the police, which he was happy to accept, should alleviate those concerns with regards to the West Mendip Way. This was a track that provided access to his property and was regularly used. With regards to concerns for the protection of children, the glamping site was for over 18s only. The panel has considered the representations both in writing and in person from all parties. In considering the application, the panel is mindful of the fact that the applicant has agreed additional conditions with the police. The applicant had recognised many of the risks in his operating schedule, and the police had chosen to recommend conditions rather than object to the application. Parish Council concerns regarding the access, egress to the premises were not matters for consideration by the panel under the Licensing Act. The access, whilst forming part of the West Mendip Way, was still a public highway, which the applicant was entitled to use. It was not anticipated that the business model would increase the number of vehicle movements significantly along this route. The Parish Council objection to the sale of alcohol to the occupiers of the applicant's glamping site was irrelevant, given that the site was for over 18s only. Accordingly, it is the decision of the panel to grant a premises licence for Owley Woods Glamping and Spirits, Bradley Cross, Cheddar, Somerset, on the terms requested, together with the submitted operating schedule and conditions agreed with the police. So I'm pleased to say we are going to grant you your licence. Thank you very much for attending today, and thank you everybody else. Have a great day.